Hi, and welcome back. Many of you out there have been kind of following along on our journey as a company as we bring in different motorhomes, and you've been watching these videos. I really thank you, and I enjoy the feedback that we've been getting from all of you. I'd like to take this opportunity to give you an exterior video tour of a Renegade Classic. Really what the Classic just means is that this is FRP construction walls, has an overhead bunk, and it's a style of construction that Renegade uses. And this particular coach is our mid-entry Classic. The reason we call it a mid-entry is the entrance door is in the middle of the coach. The original concept came from one of our customers out of Oregon who wanted a short coach that had a bedroom and a nice living quarters that they could use to tour all over the Pacific Northwest, both on and off the grid. And this coach that we're about to show you is a result of all of that effort. Each coach we built, we just kept getting better and better, and I really think we've really done a great job of listening to our customers and getting feedback and designing the ultimate coach for people that want to live an active outdoors lifestyle. But before we get going, I want to kind of explain the differences in a Renegade Classic. The Renegade Classic is a product line that Renegade makes, and we can make this coach anywhere from 30-foot overall length all the way up to 45-foot in overall length. It's really a truly custom coach that we can design to kind of fit your needs and your lifestyles. This particular coach that we're going to walk you around is just one of many models, and this is our IWS Mid-Entry Classic, and I'm very, very excited to share it with you. This has an oversized overhead bunk, which gives you a 66 inches of overhang, which really makes a really nice large bed up there on top. We can also do a 48-inch bunk over the top, and we can also do an aero cap if you were to build this on a Cascadia. But on this particular coach, this is built on an M2 106 chassis. And what that means is it's a Freightliner M2. The 106 means it's 106 inches from the back of the cab to the front bumper. We've been building these typically on the M2 106 with 350 horse, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, or we build it on the M2 112 chassis. The 112 just means it's 112 inches from the back of the cab to the front bumper. When we build this coach on an M2 112, we're installing a 470 horsepower Detroit with 1,650 foot-pounds of torque. An absolute amazing coach in terms of floor plan space, bang for the buck, and horsepower ratings. I really think this is the ultimate motorhome for people that want to have an outdoor experience. I think the best thing to do is start walking you through all of the storage boxes, and this is the driver's side, or in the RV world, the street side of the motorhome, and we're going to start with the first box. And I go on and on about these 8D batteries and how important I feel they are to the coach. The two batteries in the upper left are the batteries for the chassis, and the batteries on the bottom are the coach batteries. What happens is when you're out traveling on the road, it's nice to not have to run the generator all the time, because when you're running a generator, you're just burning fuel. So we've been equipping our coaches with the 8D batteries, and these are the gel-filled batteries. When we're building a coach, we're trying not to cut any corners, because when you've worked hard all your life and it's time to get out on the road and enjoy it, the last thing you want to have to do is deal with maintenance. And by going to the AGM batteries, you don't have to add water to them. They're virtually maintenance free. They should last for years and years, and I really think it's money well spent. If you want to order a coach and you want to delete these, that's available to you, but whenever possible, I really encourage people to spend the extra money on these. It's going to be really nice for you in the evenings. You can pop popcorn in the microwave, you can watch television, you can listen to the stereo outside, and you can do all of that without the generator running with these batteries. We've also equipped this coach with solar panels, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And now as we move to the next box back, you can see the inverter and the control panel for the inverter is back here. This is a 2800 watt inverter. It also has a battery charger. The control panel to the right is the monitor, which monitors the solar power. Now as we move to the next box back, this is getting into the septic box. And what we've been doing to make these coaches better for the winter is we're installing ceramic heaters inside of these boxes, and we're also installing what's called ceramic temp coat insulation in these boxes. So this is a 4 seasons coach. You know, this coach is equipped with, we call it our extreme winter package. We've installed R25 insulation in the coach, which is just virtually unheard of in the RV industry. Most high-end coaches that are produced today have an R factor of 9. And this coach has a R factor of 25 in the walls, ceiling, and floor. When you move down into the sewage boxes, we also got to protect them from the elements. So we've been having Renegade spray what's called ceramic temp coat. And I would encourage you to go onto YouTube and watch some of the videos. It's just absolutely amazing from an insulation value. In the same compartment, you're going to see the macerator sewage system. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the macerator, kind of want to explain how this works real quick. We start off by installing a macerator toilet. Many people don't do that because it's a very expensive toilet, but I just really feel, there should be no compromises when you're going to buy a luxury coach and be out on the road and you really want to enjoy the experience. So we're installing the macerator toilet inside the coach, and what that does is grinds up and emulsifies the byproducts before it goes into the septic tank. And then as it moves into the septic tank, which you're seeing here, when it comes time to dump the tank, you'll push another button and a pump is going to come on and it's going to grind it up again, and then it pushes all the waste product out this little blue hose. Many of you are used to using the big 4-inch black hose that you lock onto the ring, and you got to wear your rubber gloves, and then after the waste is dumped, you got to go find a hose and rinse it out, and then you got to find some place to store the hose. And when you move into this macerator system, all of that is over. Dumping your septic tank is just a few minute project now. It just becomes a lot more easier to go out and use your coach, come back and dump it, and then put it away for the evening. Now we're going to move back into the third box, and this is something that we've been doing at IWS as an exclusive on the Classics. Is we've been asking Renegade to install what we call our water management system. What we've done is we've asked Renegade to move all the controls into one central box here, so that when it comes time to service the utilities on your coach, it's all really in a nice, easy area. Some of the things that I am so proud of Renegade for doing is they've laser cut all of the control functions into this panel, so down the road the labels aren't going to wear off on the control features. It's hard to imagine that on the first day you bought your motorhome, but 5 years from now when labels are wore off, it can be very confusing. I'm going to take a minute and try to walk you through each of the functions here, and the first thing we're going to talk about is the low point drain. And what this does is from the storage tank inside the motorhome to that valve, if there's any water there in the winter, you can open that valve up and it's going to drain the water out backwards via gravity. So it's really handy when you're going to use your coach in the winter to be able to remove that water in the line so it doesn't freeze. In this particular coach, there's 150 gallons of water under the bed and there's a dump valve in there. What would happen is in the winter, you would fill water into the tank, and that would put 150 gallons of fresh water under the bedroom, so it's inside where it's not going to freeze. And then you would open the low point drain to drain the water out of the hose from the storage tank backwards. Here's another low point drain, and it's a water spigot, so you can use this to hook a hose on if you want. Also have water. It has a dual function. Here's the spray away. It's a coiled hose that when you turn your water pump on, it has an adjustable nozzle on the end, and it'll stretch out about 6 feet. So if you want to spray a cooler out or spray a kid off, it's kind of a nice function for that. Here's the button for the flow jet. When you turn this on, it begins the pump and emulsification process of emptying the byproduct, the waste products out of the septic tank. This next feature here is the hose reel. This particular coach isn't equipped with a hose reel. We use these really in the winter. This motorhome's designed to be used for heavy winter use, and by not installing a hose reel, it makes it a little bit easier to keep the coach winterized. Here's the black tank and gray tank dump valves. You just pull them levers and it dumps them. Here's the tank wash. There's a sprinkler inside of the black tank, so you can hook a hose on here, and as you pressurize that, a sprinkler will come inside your tank and wash all the waste out of the black tank. Here's the cable hookup. If you're in an RV park that offers free cable, you can just run a coax from their port to this port, and then you'd have cable TV inside the coach. We've been equipping most of these coaches with the Winegard high-definition satellite system, so you probably won't be using the cable much, but it is there if you decide you want to use it. The next feature we're going to talk about is the tank fill and the city water fill. So you'll hook your hose up from fresh water, and when you have the lever turned to tank fill, it's going to fill the holding tank underneath the bed. If you're at an RV park and you're going to stay connected to city water, you just turn that lever straight up, and then the coach will be operating off of city water. Now we've moved back into the generator, and we've been equipping these coaches with two different styles of generators. The standard generator is the Cummins Onan 8,000 watt quiet diesel generator. The other optional generator we've been using is a 12.5 kW Cummins Onan diesel generator. You know, everything depends on what you're going to use the coach for, but when you call to talk to us about a coach, we'll be glad to explain the differences in the two and help you choose the one that's best for your needs. Also located in the generator storage compartment is the remote propane fill. Renegade has mounted the propane tank up between the frame rails on this coach, out of the way of a storage box. It's a really nice feature. It's an optional feature that we've been doing here at IWS. I think it's just a great place to get the propane out of the way, and then it also frees up another storage compartment. And in my mind, it's a safer place to store the propane, although I don't have anything to substantiate that. It's just my personal feeling on it. Whenever we build a coach for somebody, I'm always trying to design it as if it was a coach that I was going to own, and this is a feature I would definitely want on my coach. Now we're moving into the last box on the driver's side of the coach, and we've been equipping, whenever there's room in the box, the powered cord reel, and it's a rather expensive option, but I personally feel it's well worth the money. It's really nice when you're unplugging from power to just push a button and have that 50 amp electrical cord wind up on its own rather than trying to coil it up and find a storage space for it to store it in one of your boxes. We've also been equipping our coaches with a 30 amp electrical plug at the back of the coach, so if you're pulling a stacker trailer, you can plug your coach in there and you'd have AC power there. Or maybe you have a relative that's traveling with you in a travel trailer and they can plug in right there, and you can also share your power with them. Just a real nice feature that we try to add in each coach that we do. And that pretty much concludes the tour of the driver's side or the street side of the coach. Now we're going to move around to the back of the coach, and I want to call your attention to some things that we're doing here at IWS. And one of them is that we're installing LED area lights. And if you look to the right and left of the window, you're going to see two large LED lights. And we've been typically equipping two on the driver's side, two on the passenger side, and one or two on the rear of the coach. And they serve many purposes. Obviously, when you're setting up camp or tearing down camp, it's nice to have the light. It's also nice to have light out the back when you're hooking up to your trailer. But the main reason we did it is for security. You know, if you're out on the desert all by yourself and you hear a bump in the night, you can flip a switch on and all of these powerful lights are going to come up and they're going to illuminate hundreds of feet around the coach. The intensity of these lights is just amazing. They have high and low settings, and I think it just adds a real comfort level for you when you're out there traveling with just your family and you want to turn on some lights to be able to let people know that you're in there and you know they're out. Now we're going to talk about the hitch on the back of this coach. Depending on the size of chassis you buy, we'll equip these coaches with either a 20,000 pound hitch or a 30,000 pound hitch. All of the coaches we're building have the bulkhead connector for the camera connection if you want to run a backup camera on your trailer. Here's a shot of the backup camera on this coach. We can also equip them with side view cameras. It's really nice when you're backing up one of these to the trailer or you're just backing up in a parking lot to be able to see behind you. Now we're going to take you up onto the roof of this coach. This particular coach is equipped with 2 air conditioners. We've normally been just doing 2 air conditioners because of the extreme insulation package we're doing. We do have some customers that ask for 3 air conditioners, and that's available. When we go to 3 air conditioners, we do need to upgrade the generator to the 12.5 kW. Here you can see the dual solar panels, and these are 160 watts a piece. These are going to put about 25 charging amps into your battery, so very nice way to keep the batteries maintained all day long. If you're out on the river fishing, you don't have to worry about your batteries running dead. They're going to just charge up on their own. As with all classics, this is a full walk-on roof. So if you wanted to set a lawn chair up on top of here, there'd be no problem with it. You could put 10, 15 people could walk on this roof, no problem. They're just extremely well-built motorhomes. Here we're going to slide out the bedroom slide on it and kind of point out that there are awning toppers on all of the slides, which is really important to keep rainwater out. We have several different types of awnings, but on the coaches that we're building that are going to spend a lot of time off the grid and outdoors, we've been using this A&E awning, and what we really like about it are things that maybe aren't so obvious to the first-time RV buyer, but we sell a lot of these motorhomes in the Pacific Northwest where we get an awful lot of rain, and having an awning that comes down at an angle is a big benefit to be able to keep the rain from running off of it. The lateral arm awnings we can also do, but they tend to hold the awning more out at a straight level, and I don't think they do as well in heavy rains. Another thing that we like about these is by having the arms on the awning, it's a nice place to hang your clothes up. If you get some gear that's wet and you need to dry it out, it gives you a real nice little clothesline. It's just little things that we've noticed from using these out. When I'm fishing on the Salmon River or Hell's Canyon, there's little things like this that have just really added up for our RVing experience, and I want to point them out to you whenever possible. This awning does have wind motion on it, so if you're away from the coach and the wind picks up, the awning's going to retract on its own. Now we're going to do a quick overview of the passenger side or curbside storage boxes. But before I get started on them, I kind of want to draw your attention to the roller underneath this back box. If you look underneath the coach here, you'll see there's a large metal roller that Renegade mounts underneath your coach, and it's attached to that 20 or 30,000 pound trailer hitch. So if you go through a dip, that roller is going to hit the ground. It's also known as a bogey wheel. Just something I wanted to point out that comes standard on all of the Renegade Classics. Another thing we've been doing on most of our Classics is equipping them with this slide-out refrigerator prep tray. So there's a 110 outlet inside this box, so if you want to add an electric refrigerator freezer, it'll fit right in this tray. It's a real nice feature, and if you don't want to, it's just a nice storage tray. Here you can see the carpeting that comes standard inside of the storage boxes. When Renegade builds these coaches, they powder coat all of the storage compartments, and then they line them with carpet. But if you're in a real wet area, you might want to have us bed line the boxes or carpet some and bed line the others. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for us to let you know that when you order a coach from us, we want to build it your way, and we really want to make sure the coach fits your lifestyle and your environment. Here's a shot of the radius entry door on it. It also has a lighted grab handle, which is really nice at night. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about the outside entertainment center, but before we do, I want to draw your eyes to just to the left of it, and there's a 110 outlet there, which is real nice. For all kinds of activities, you can run an electric barbecue grill off it. If you're into horses, you can run electric shears right there. It's just real nice to have an AC outlet on the curb side of the coach. Now we're going to move into the outside entertainment center, and the door has 2 stages. So here it's in the lower stage if the sun's out, and then you can also raise that all the way up a little bit higher to gain a little more access to the TV. This will be a 32-inch LG smart TV. It's high definition, has an AM/FM stereo, really nice speakers on it. It's a nice way to spend the evening outside listening to music or watching a show on the satellite. It also has an MP3 player, so you could plug in your iPod and listen to music outside. I think it's just a real nice added feature. Now we're going to move around to the front and talk a little bit about the chassis. And the first thing as we move around is looking here at the step covers. Them are an optional item. If you want, I think they really dress the coach up. We can put the Renegade fiberglass step covers on here, or you can opt to just have the regular black steps that come standard on a Freightliner. The choice is yours there. Now we're going to move around so you can get a good look at the front of the coach. And as I mentioned earlier, we can do the bunks in either a narrow cap version on a Cascadia, or on the M2 we can do the oversized bunk or the shorter bunk. It's hard to believe, but even with the oversized bunk, when you're in the driver's chair, you can't see it from inside the cab. Now we're going to move up into the engine compartment, and I really want to take a moment and try to inform you about the different engines and some of the horsepower rating games that are being played out in the RV industry. The most common engine that people are using in RVs is the Cummins ISB 6.7 liter. And that's an engine that would be typically found in a Dodge pickup. And that engine will typically have around a 700 horsepower rating and then around 600 foot-pounds of torque. And then you have the Cummins ISL 9, which is in this engine. And this is an 8.9 liter engine. It is a complete different engine family from the 6.7. This engine has wet sleeves in it, so the cylinder liners are replaceable. You know, this engine weighs right in at 1,800 pounds. It has a 350 horsepower rating with 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. This is a very well-built truck engine. It's not a pickup engine, this is a truck engine. This is an engine that should last 1,000,000 miles before it needs overhauled. This is an incredibly competent engine. And I really want you to understand that when you're looking at horsepower ratings, don't get confused just because the numbers seem similar. You really have to look at the engine family and how many liters are in the engine and really what it's designed for. This engine and this chassis is designed to drive up and down the freeway for hundreds of thousands of miles, weighing and towing up to 60,000 pounds all day, every day. This is not a pickup engine. I feel like I'm beating a drum, but I just really want to make sure that you're an informed buyer when you're out there looking at motorhomes. Some of the really nice features of the Cummins engine and just the Class C in general is that if you have any engine problems, it's really easy to just tip the hood. You can gain access. It's real easy for you to fill the washer fluid, to check the engine oils, to check the air filter, antifreeze coolants. It's all very visual. It's very easy. You know, in a Class A motorhome, you're in the back, opening up compartments, you know, crawling inside of there with a flashlight. The Class C is just very straightforward and very easy to do. I really hope you found this video of some value. We really feel it's kind of our job here to make sure that we're informing you and helping you make an informed decision on your next RV purchase. And I want to encourage you to not hesitate to give us a call, and we'd be glad to spend some time with you, talk to you, get to know you, find out what your wants and needs are, and help you design the motorhome of your dreams. As always, thanks so much for your time.